Good Sunday morning. I will not be going to retro today. Everybody that needs to know that already knows that. That's not what the topic of this video is. The topic of this video is why I have the shits with YouTube fitness. And I do. The YouTube fitness community is a fucking cesspool of just bullshit, misinformation, flat out lies, con men, deception artists. I've decided just to distance myself from the whole damn charade because I can't relate to any of it. You know, there are some people that are there to offer genuine, credible, solid information that you could employ in a productive fashion to improve your person and your life experience and your health and everything, which I'm sure is a big part of improving your person, your physique, whatever. But the majority are just a bunch of wannabes, posers, and they're only there to try and suck some dollars out of you. That's what they're there to do. You want to talk about snake oil? People talk about the supplement industry. It's nothing but a bunch of snake oil. The supplement industry actually is what it is. It is what it is, you know, no lo contendere. It just is what it is. But these dudes that put these videos up, man, the ones I'm referring to, they're the real con men. You know, they're the real snake oil salesmen. I mean, real snake oil salesmen. It's exactly like if you can envision back in the day when that term was coined, these carpetbaggers rolling to town on a wagon, you know, advertising big placards on the side of it, whatever their miracle cure for whatever the fuck it is, some kind of liniment that you can stain wood with or clean silver, and it'll also help to give your body super rejuvenating health and powers or some shit like that, right? And they would roll into town and they would try to sell this shit, and they would say and do whatever it took to get on your good side, try to appeal to you, to try and bullshit you and get your money out of your pocket. And that's what these fuckers do. You got guys making videos about how to get big shoulders. They don't have big shoulders. You got guys making videos about this doesn't work for hypertrophy and that does work for hypertrophy, and they're the hypertrophy expert. And they don't have any hypertrophy to speak of, not enough that makes them an expert. Now there are guys out there, like I said, that are offering good information and have good solid videos, but even those guys, the buzzards swoop in and try and pick at them. You know, that's the next thing they do. That's a pretty good red flag right there. One's the guys that build their entire channel off of trying to swoop in and just pick the bones, try and get whatever leavings they can gather from around the kill. You know, they're just scavengers because it's a channel that has a lot of views or a lot of subscribers, and 9 times out of 10, not all the time, 9 times out of 10, it's a channel with somebody very competent who's actually trying to impart some practical, worthwhile information to you. But these other cats, you know who they are. They're easy to identify. They got to make a video every single day, every day. And that's why they just make videos that are completely beyond what they're qualified to even speak on. And they're actually trying to present themselves as some kind of authority based on how long they've been doing it or whatever. And let me tell you something. Just like in the auto mechanic field, all the technicians, there's a whole lot of technicians out there that I don't care how long they've been doing it. You can be doing something wrong for 20 years. You can spend your whole life doing something wrong. A lot of these guys, they'll hold up how long they've been doing something, that means they've been doing it right. You know, that you've been doing it a particular length of time doesn't equate that you've been doing it well, or that you've been doing it correctly, or that you're adept at it. Proof is in the pudding. Dude that's been training 30 years, and his primary desire or goal is to be as big as he can, as strong as he can, and his strength is respectable, but it's not over the top. It does, in fact, all of my lifts in the day, slaughtered what these dudes are moving. Slaughtered their asses, killed them. But back in my time, we weren't concerned with selfies and, hey, let's get that on video. Hey, let's take a picture of this. Hey, let's, didn't think of that. We're too busy actually just doing it. The satisfaction was in the doing of it, not in the posing for it. If a guy's been doing something that many years and he doesn't have, he's not that big, and he's not really strong enough that makes him an authority on strength either. And that's mediocrity. That's the name of the game in our society today, especially with men, unfortunately. We're a dying species, killing us off, so to speak. We're not, I know male is a gender and not a species, but you know what I'm saying. We're endangered. If you want to talk about an endangered species, men are endangered species. Anybody that disputes that or doesn't recognize that, you got your head up your ass. You're buried in the sand somewhere. Maybe you live in a cave. I don't know. But it's a reality. So we have these diminished expectations, these lowered expectations, and we hold up mediocrity as something the majority of men should strive for. Pathetic. Anyway, so what's been going on with me? Well, straightening all the bugs out of this here motorcycle, riding it a lot, and this ain't the only one, by the way. And I haven't been to the gym in 2 weeks. So, for me, the problem with that is because I'm not on anything. Now, if I just lay out in the gym any amount of time, I begin to atrophy. Now, there were periods of time before when I could be off of everything for 7, 8 months. And yeah, I'll atrophy, but my body weight would stay in the neighborhood. I'd lose some weight, but it'd stay in the neighborhood. And that was only because I would compensate for the atrophy in my diet. That would be considered with the diet, and I would do like a recomposition, but I would actually gain body fat. I would drop muscle, but I would gain fat. And it wasn't to, identical ratios. I mean, I would lose more muscle than I would gain fat, but I would gain enough fat that it would still keep my body weight reasonably high enough, and that would make it much easier after a long extended period where it's so long that you're not going to just rebound, for me to recomp back and put more muscle, regain a lot of that muscle due to muscle memory, all those, the increased amount of nuclei that I've developed over these many, many, many years, and then drop some body fat. But now, because I'm trying to keep my body fat at a reasonable low level, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to crank the calories up just because I'm not training. See, people get it backwards, right? They think, because I'm training, I need to crank the calories up. Well, if you're early in the game, you haven't gone very far yet, or very long, or maybe even doing a long time, but you pretty much just maintained, then I understand the thought process behind that, leading you to that conclusion. But really, if you're going to drop muscle for any reason because you're not going to train for a long period of time, or if you are enhanced and you're going to go for a long period of time, 6 months, 8 months, a year, maybe you're just off to see what happens. If you're concerned with somewhere along the way coming back from that and still being really big, then you want to keep those calories. You want to turn those calories up even higher. You want to turn them up even higher because you need to just maintain your weight. You're not going to maintain exactly the same weight, or else you're going to get really fat. But as long as you just keep that stress, that girth, that size, the stress on that skeletal structure, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to switch it up when you do get back, coming back from an injury, say, or whatever have you. You get back into the gym, for you to put that muscle back on really, really quick, at a large size, because your body hasn't like reset itself and accepted finally, hey, I weigh this much less now and this is the new norm. It doesn't recalibrate to that degree. You know, it will, but to a much lesser degree that way. So that's the way I've always done it. However, now I'm going to keep my body weight at a respectable level and my body fat at a reasonable level. So I'm not going to turn the calories up and compensate for any muscle mass loss that occurs when I have a layoff. So I haven't trained in a solid 2 weeks, and you know, I've lost some muscle because I'm not on anything, and it's not the same. You know, I don't maintain it so well. You can maintain that size, like I just said. If I knew I was going to be off for 2 weeks, 2 weeks isn't a long period of time. You're not going to lose a ton of muscle in 2 weeks anyway. But what I'm saying is, as a natural or somebody that's not enhanced, hasn't been enhanced now for 6-7 months or so, whatever the hell it's been, I haven't been keeping track. It's a whole different ballgame for me to retain muscle. I have to maintain that. The maintenance has to be performed more regularly. Whereas before I could get away with, you know, when I'm enhanced, and I can be huge, and I can get away with only training, hell, maybe 2 times a week, sometimes 3 times a week. And sometimes I'll get rolling, and of course if I train 4 or 5 times a week, I'm going to look better for it. But I can still maintain a crazy physique with a lot of size just 2 times a week when I'm enhanced. But this way, you know, not being on anything now for so long, completely with whatever I'm producing on my own, yeah, that's not the case. I really need to train more frequently. It's more work. I need to train more frequently. Now, you still need to train. When I'm enhanced, if I don't train, I'm not going to look the same. But that's why I have always made it a practice to up those calories to keep that weight up. A lot of bikes out today. I'm debating on whether or not I want to ride to the gym. I have shorts on and all this jazz, but I have new pipes on my bike, so and I've moved those controls, forward controls. I've moved them out a lot further, so it's easier to ride. But I'll tell you right now, these fat tire bikes like this, especially with a long extended front end, they're not what you think they are to ride. No, they're not at all. And there's a solid reason for that, and I'll get into that in another video for those of you who may be interested. If you're not interested, don't watch the fucking video. Anyway, that's what I've been up to. So today I probably will get back into the gym, and beginning next week I'll be back at Retro like clockwork again. Like I said, I just lose my taste for all the dissension and the needless drama. It's like bitchy, catty, you know, hen-like. You know, all that little kind of gossipy, he said, she said, bullshit that goes on YouTube Fitness. It goes on a lot of places. But that's just a reflection, a microcosm of what happens in society to men today. It's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Males, not men. And again, there are some awesome people out there making videos. There's some awesome people that are keeping it real. They're doing their thing. But there are some motherfucking con men out there that are over the top. So for me, for my own clarity, yeah, it's better for me just to disassociate myself from that bullshit as much as possible. Now I still got shit going on. September 15th, we will be at A1 Fitness in Delta, Pennsylvania, on Broad Street for a fundraiser they're having for charity, where they're raising money for the Cancer Foundation, United Cancer Foundation, I believe it's called. Anyway, one of their members had come down with cancer, and so they're having a fundraiser to donate money for cancer research, and we're one of the vendors that'll be there, thanks to some awesome brothers and sisters, 2 in particular, that are really good people that are going to be there with us at the booth. So we'll have a little table there. We got that coming up. That's September 15th. And it's for a great cause at an awesome gym with a lot of good people. And what else is going on? Of course, as the weather begins to change, now comes our drive again to try to get as many donations as possible in clothing and hygiene items and things like that that we can distribute again. Last winter, was the most impact we've had yet. We really outdid any of our previous years this past winter. And of course, it's a year-round thing, but wintertime is much worse. If you're outside in the elements and you're homeless or you're living in the woods, like a lot of communities, not a lot, but when I say a lot, there are too many. So to me, that's a lot anyway, because you'd be surprised to see that. And go out in rural areas and find it outside of the city somewhere. You have a whole community of homeless people living in the woods. And there are children there. So even, you cats out there to think that, oh, it's their own fault, unquestionably has to be. They're drug addicts and alcoholics. They don't deserve any help. They should get a job, et cetera, et cetera. What about the kids, man? There are children out there like that, and they're going to school. They're trying to go to school every day. And think about that. Going to school every day, and you don't have clothes really to wear, just donations, shoes, whatever you can get. And then, it's not like you have a shower at home every night or a bath, and all the accoutrements, everything that you need necessarily is right there, like it is for regular folks that live in a house or a dwelling, right? Have a dwelling. So for the kids, that's one of the biggest motivations for me. When we go out and visit these communities, that's one of the biggest motivations to me, because these kids, even if you want to blame the adults, and what about these kids, man? Any one of us, had we had the misfortune to be born into a life like that, through nothing of our own doing as children. Think about the childhood that you had. Some of your childhoods may have been pretty bad, but many of you probably had really good childhoods. But imagine that. So anyway, that's what it's about. So as always, we need lots of stuff. And again, it's toothbrushes and toothpastes and deodorants and body wash and wipes. Those little towelettes are awesome. And of course, the Mylar blankets, we still have lots of them. I got a regular thing with that. All this kind of stuff. Socks. Socks are a big thing. Of all sizes, for kids too. Shoes, clothing donations, used stuff that's still good, coats, all this kind of stuff, blankets. Anyway, so none of that changes. Gorilla with a Cause is still what it is, and like I've always told you, Gorilla with a Cause isn't about YouTube. YouTube is just a tool Gorilla with a Cause employs. It's just one of many. One of many. That's it for me. I'll be back later on with some kind of video you probably don't have any interest in seeing, but probably motorcycle related, because you know what? That's a big stress reliever for me. And I might ride this down to Gold's. It's not that far to go. I'm not going to get burned up now with these pipes with shorts on. I know, and people are probably thinking, that's pretty lame. You're running around with tennis shoes and shorts on. Not normally, but I'm going to the gym. I don't feel like dragging a bunch of shit, though. I got saddlebags. I could. I don't feel like going through all that. All right, guys, I'm out of here, man. You guys have an awesome weekend, what's left of it. Hope everybody's going to have a great start tomorrow to the work week. Take care.